I chose to review the article that was about mental health and injuries in athletes. So I thought this was really important because I you never really hear about you always hear about injuries in athletes, but you never hear about their mental health afterwards. And I thought that was really interesting, and so that's why I picked it. Um, I thought there would be more information about this topic than there actually was, but I found it really interesting, this article. It talked about how I talked about your social part, the social part of your life, your psychological aspect of your life, and the physical aspect of your life. So obviously, once you're injured, you can't physically do what you once were able to. So that's hard enough. Not being able to go to practice, not being able to participate in games and do what you love to do. But then it's also the psychological aspect of your life. So it's proven that exercise helps with mental state. So if you're injured, most likely you're not going to be able to do much athletic activity. So just not being able to go from your practices and your games to not being able to do a single thing that's athletic, that must be so hard. Like, it's a huge change that must be very difficult to deal with. And then it's also the social part of your life. Teams are so close nowadays, and I feel like if you weren't a part of the team, you weren't able to go to practices, you weren't able to participate in games, like, you're not going to be seeing your friends as much, which also takes a huge toll on you, because for a lot of people, friends are like outlets, and they're just people that will just help relieve stress and just like have a good time with. But if you're not able to participate, then you're not able to be really with them in it, even if like you're still seeing them as much as you think, but you're not able to participate in the games. And I feel like that would just take a huge toll on, it would just make it even worse, the fact that you're injured, because you can't even like, you're not even like doing the same things as your friends anymore because you can't physically do it. So this article concluded that students that did get injured did score lower on the questionnaires and everything that they had to fill out for this study. So I agreed with the article. I thought the findings were very accurate and it was very thorough and well done. And I thought that at the end of the article, they talked about making a new kind of therapy to focus not just on the injury but also the person's well-being, which I think is super important, because I feel like it's just a huge change and it's a sudden change that you're not expecting. So you really I feel like it's hard for a lot of people to deal with. And I think that if you focused on a new kind of therapy that would incorporate like your whole well-being as well as focusing on getting better with your injury, I think that would make overall people happier. I also think that so on the forms, there was one basic medical questionnaire that was just kind of getting your general information and like, were you injured in the last week or last month or whatever the question was, and then that helped determine like what the two groups were going to be. And then they also filled out a short form which was more in-depth about their whole lives, like their whole like mental health, physical, everything about them was in the other form. So the scores were pretty, like when I read the title of the article and I started reading it, you could kind of figure out like where this was going. So when I was reading the statistics, I really agreed with the findings. I thought they were very accurate, and I thought it was a very well done study, and I think there should be more information about it. And I think that making a new therapy that focuses on your total person instead of just the injury is going to be really beneficial, especially for people that are like college athletes that say they wanted to go and do this professionally. Like, if you're injured, that's much more difficult to attain. So I think like having a total like mental health, physical health kind of therapy for an injury is going to really be helpful.